Hello, caviar connoisseurs, and welcome to this week's episode of Sports Caviar. I am Javi, one of your hosts, and I'm here with my big dog, Bernasty. What's up?
What's going on, Javi? Excited to be here. Excited to talk. Some great conversations coming up here. Probably going to get a little heated, so I'm going to warn the listeners ahead of time. I'm hoping my boy Bajan can have my back on a couple of the topics, so we'll see. Bajan, how's it going over there?
Burn always aligned, at least on the Lions. Hav, always a pleasure. It's a wonderful time of year.
This segment is brought to you by Dickies Upholstery. One stitch at a time since 1979. They specialize in auto, marine, and commercial. Dickies Upholstery for any of your upholstery needs. So we're going to get started with a very interesting situation that unfolded. So Jimbo Fisher, obviously, as everybody knows, he decided to leave good old Tallahassee for greener pastures over in Texas A&M. They open up the door for him. They say, hey, here's $100 million, $200 million. Pay whoever you want. You can buy whatever staff you want. You can do anything you need. Here's all the money in the world. And that didn't last that long. His tenure was 6 years, roughly. He goes out on a platinum parachute, $77 million later. Bern, what does this do to Jimbo's legacy? And do you think he's going to get another job?
45-25 over 6 seasons, not going to cut it. As a Florida State fan, kind of excited to see it. We were always saying that he won't win a championship before we win one. And that's going to be the case. So we're really good about that. I don't know if it, affects his legacy too much. He had a great run at Florida State, winning the national championship, being in the playoffs back-to-back years. Still a great coach. I think maybe the money got to his head there. $77 million, that's a pretty solid payout. I think he will get another job. He'll take his very sweet time and enjoy some of that green that he receives.
He could take a sweet time, an entire lifetime, with $77.5 million coming his way. I believe a quarter of that has to be paid to him in the next 60 days. So under $20 million's got to hit that account. So Jimbo, no longer in purgatory. He's gone on to heaven. And good for Jimbo. Good for, if you could get it done, why not? Who doesn't want a platinum parachute? This is interesting for future signings and how you structure deals to be out $77 million. Texas A&M can afford to do that. Not many universities can. So interesting what we see in the future. Good for Jimbo. Just have $7 million installments after that. So in time for Christmas, in time for Thanksgiving at the Jimbo Fisher household.
Okay, so were you surprised that they pulled the plug this early, Bajan?
The timing was interesting. So they're coming off a win. I didn't expect it then. Now they have some other games that I maybe would have expected it in this year, particularly. So that timing was interesting. I suppose that they're looking to get ahead of the coaching carousel and get someone that they really want. I do respect that. The timing was interesting from a season perspective as they come off a win. Maybe they're headed in the right direction. They had seen, or the regents and the board of regents had seen enough.
That's why they did pull it. They had already made their decision. Like they knew that this 8-9 win seasons wasn't going to cut it. But after that win, if Texas A&M has it's challenging, not a most difficult remaining schedule. They pull out a few more wins and then get to a bowl game and win it. It's a little harder to pull the plug on him. So doing it now, like you said, getting ahead of that coaching carousel, and they've got names in mind for sure. And we'll talk about that soon, I'm sure. I think that they did this there was a reason. They had this already set up in their mind, ready to go. And so they can work those guys that they want to go after.
So if they would have waited until after the season, obviously his buyout starts to go down every year. They must have been like, okay, at this point, we might save $7 million if we held on to him for a couple more months or whatever the case may be. And to them, $7 million's nothing. Apparently, they were like, all right, National Signing Day is December, so we have to do it now. That's the way that college football has changed. That it's insane that a coach can sign such a huge contract and then get bought out a couple years into the massive contract for $77 million. Are you out of your mind?
They truly are CEOs now. It's turned into a large business. CEOs are probably the biggest comp to this. So it is amazing. $77 million to go away, to be fired. That's incredible to me.
It looks like they're going to break it up in installments. It's going to be roughly, after the lump sum, it's going to be $7 million a year for the next 90 years.
Bobby Bonilla. It'll be Jimbo Fisher Day now once a year.
So I guess in their eyes, they're like, okay, whoever we need to go out and get, any big name coach now, they're going to demand around $8 to $10 million a year. So that they're going to be paying their coach $17 million a year, if you include the Jimbo Fisher. And they're not going to win a national championship at Texas A&M. It's laughable that they're going to be paying $20 million a year to two coaches, and then nothing's going to happen out of it. And then they're going to have to buy him out too. And they're going to be paying $30 million. I don't know. I don't know.
Really
they better get next.
They better get this one right.
So I thought this was interesting. The top 5 highest buyouts to date. So it was Tom Herman was $15 million. That's the 5th largest. Which, by the way, he's at FAU. Did you guys know that?
Wouldn't have guessed that.
I did.
Okay. It's pretty good that you knew that, because I had to look that up. I was like, where is Tom Herman these days? That's where he was.
Big Tom Herman fan club president.
Yes. They say it was a keep your enemies closer. So Tom Herman, Ohio State, don't like him.
Number 4 is Willie Taggart. He got paid $18 million to go away, which now that buyout looks really good. Okay.
That's great.
So, I'm happy.
They double that.
He landed it. Charlie Weiss, number 3, his buyout was $19 million. And do you guys know where he's at?
Somewhere in Chicago eating a deep dish?
Small.
I have no idea.
Yeah. No, I'm not even going to guess.
I also had to look that one up because I figured he was retired. He's a co-offensive coordinator at Ole Miss right now.
Oh, okay. With Kiffin.
Lane.
That's why they're doing so well. Because of Charlie Weiss.
Other than big games, yes.
And then the number 2 was Gus Malzahn, $21 million. And as we know, he's at UCF.
Double dipping for the night. So, we'll talk about them in a little bit. Bounce house.
$21 million is the second highest to 77.
7.
Okay.
The bit of a jump.
3 times.
I want you guys to tell me, okay, this is going to be, we're going to move over to NFL here for you NFL fans. I want to go through the divisions in a swift manner. What I would like for you guys to do, I'm going to ask you each, okay? And I want you to tell me whether or not you're going to take the current division leader or the pack, okay? We're going to run through the divisions, and then I'm curious where you guys are at with your confidence level on each of these divisions. We'll start out with the AFC East. Obviously, Miami's in first right now. And then you have Buffalo, Jets, New England. New England's out of it. It's really Buffalo and the Jets. Bergen, are you taking Miami or the field?
If we didn't watch the Buffalo-Denver game, I probably would have said field. Today, I can't put trust. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the leader of the pack, take the Dolphins, and we'll see him in the AFC East as a champion.
I would agree. We're going leader or the pack, or leader or the pack. And I'll do a conference. Do you want a conference level? Since Burn is 7-0 last week, our leader, do you want like 1 to 5 Bernies? That's our 1 to 5 Burns is our confidence level. So I'm with Burn, same reasoning. Monday night, inexplicable in so many ways. Dribbling the football down the field, 12 men on the field after the guy misses the field goal.
Yeah.
Inexplicable. My good neighbor's a huge Bills fan, and I had to check him on a Monday morning. Or Tuesday morning. I felt for him. Really inexplicable loss. I got to go Miami here. I've 3.5 Bernies confidence level. Buffalo could put it back together. I think out of 5. You know, I'm going to get 4 Burns. I'll go 4 Bernies on it.
Okay.
I was going to say 4.
4 out of 5 confidence level.
Yeah, Buffalo's lost to 3 teams named the Patriots, the Broncos, and the Jets. That's hurt. Those are inexplicable.
I hate to say it, whenever you see stuff like that happening to a team that is so talented like that, most of the time it's coaching. And
It has to be.
you don't think that for Buffalo because he's done a really good job over there over the last couple seasons.
You saw what they did.
They've been a contender. When you start losing like this, you have to look at the coach and be like, what's happening over there?
They fired Ken Dorsey. So they obviously found their scapegoat.
Whether or not that really is a scapegoat, who knows?
It's a locker room problem. Some of their bigger egos are not getting along. Ken Dorsey doesn't cause fumbles and doesn't put 12 men on the field.
Doesn't throw interceptions.
No.
The Dolphins have a 2-game lead right now in the division. As we know, they've definitely had their issues with winning big football games too. So
yes,
I would say Miami, my confidence level would be 3 out of 5. Put it right there in the middle because of the fact that it wouldn't surprise me if they switch roles here where Miami starts to lose 3 in a row and Buffalo wins 3 in a row and somehow Buffalo's back in first. I would be like, Miami's been choking all year. So it really wouldn't be that surprising to me. We'll move to a really good division. I'll move over to the AFC North now. There's some sad news for the Browns fans, obviously, with losing their quarterback, Deshaun Watson. Baltimore is currently leading. They're 7-3, looking pretty good. I'll start with you, Bijan. Are you taking Baltimore to finish the season out as the AFC North champions, or are you taking the field?
4 out of 5 Bernies with the Baltimore Ravens. So 2 of the 3 losses are inexplicable, and they are in the division. I'm still not to understand how they lost to the Steelers. Lamar, unbelievable interception in the end zone. Pittsburgh puts it back together. Last week, another head-scratching interception from Lamar that was run back. However, it's more of a war of attrition. Bengals are really banged up. T. Higgins is out. Both their defensive ends are out this week. They're going to win that game at home. Deshaun Watson's out. Because of attrition and what's left, they know how to win. Harbaugh will get it back together. This team probably loses 5 to 6 games max, and that's enough to win this division.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to take the field on this one. First of all, the Ravens, yes, they should. They should. Look at they finished the season with Jacksonville, San Fran, Miami, Pittsburgh. It could come down to that last game. And I don't know. Mike Tomlin somehow, some way, finds a way to overachieve. And I think that between them and the Bengals are still the Bengals, they can still go on a hot streak. With these records and how close they are, I'm not going to put a lot of faith in there. I'm going to go 3 Burns for the field, please.
I'm agreeing with you on this one, Bern. I'd take the field. Yeah, Baltimore definitely has a chance to finish the season out as the AFC North champions. This division's too close. It's way too close for comfort if I was a Ravens fan. I don't know what's going to happen with Cleveland. They do have a really good defense, so that might be enough to keep them in games.
It's going to have to be. No.
That was a really bad loss for Cincinnati last week.
Who called that? Houston Texans. Forget about +7. How about outright?
Cincinnati has a chance to definitely still win this division as well. So my confidence really is by saying the field, you're giving me a chance that Pittsburgh could be somehow. I'd be shocked if it was Pittsburgh. They are 6-3. I wish Deshaun Watson would have stayed healthy because that really would have made the final stretch towards the end of the season really interesting. I don't think Cleveland's going to be able to do anything after that news. AFC South. So we have Jacksonville. And obviously, as we know, Houston has been on an upward trajectory.
Woo!
Jacksonville 6-3. Houston's 5-4. Indy's right at the Mendoza 500. Tennessee's likely out of it. Burn, you taking your Jags?
This is a surprising division to see what the Texans are doing. Honestly, at the beginning of the season, if you gave them 4 wins for the season, people would be like, that's probably about right. Hats off to them. Hats off to DeMeco Ryans, what he's doing with that team. CJ Stroud's playing out of his mind for a rookie quarterback. Keyword there is rookie. And Trevor's been there, done that. He's gone through these ups and downs. Doug Peterson, seasoned vet as a head coach. I think that they're going to find a way to make sure that they win this division, because if they don't, it would be a colossal disappointment. So I am going to take the Jags to finish the business and win that division outright. And I'm going to get a little ballsy here. I'm going to go 5 out of 5 Burns on that one.
5 Burns. That's a lot.
I feel pretty good. You can put some money on that one today.
Wow.
I like that.
Be a good time to do it because there's some uncertainty. I do agree. Jags are roster-wise, coach-wise. Yes, they've struggled in games against Houston. They lost to San Francisco. There's no shame in that. The way that they did it wasn't pretty, especially coming off a bye. I do think they're the best team in this division. That will show. I still think it's going to be tight. It may be down to the last week or two because Indianapolis plays them difficult as well. I'm going to go 3.5 Bernies with the Jags, with Burns, hometown Jags. I'm not going to get all the way to 5. I like 3.5 Burns on this for Jacksonville. Roster, coaching, talent-wise, I like where they're at.
I guess we're going to have to keep our eyes out on Houston to see if they're actually for real. Right now, Houston is looking pretty legit. By the way, they're over-under was 5.5 at the beginning of the season. So
wow,
they're right on that. Vegas was way wrong on that one. I don't think anybody thought that Stroud was going to be so comfortable in this offense.
Oh, it's so fun to watch. So fun to watch. Video game.
If the playoffs started today, Houston would be as a wild card, which is obviously a win in and of itself for them. The Jags, I'd be 4 out of 5 confident that they're going to be able to take this one home.
Jags do have Tennessee and Houston the next 2 weeks, so could get dicey.
Tennessee has been riding that struggle bus with Levis. Levis is not
Levis.
He doesn't seem to be.
I like Levis. It's more of the play calling, and when they learn how to put an offense around him, they've got to change that whole culture. It's been so 2-2 train for so long. Vrabel's got to adapt to, now that he has some talent at the quarterback position. Not that Tannehill wasn't more of a pocket passer. They've got to change the offense. And that's difficult to do in 2 weeks. Yep.
Levis looks like Tannehill under center. If you didn't know that it was Levis on the back of his jersey, you'd think that Tannehill was taking the snap.
I like Levis's fire. I like it.
My Bucks beat him, so I don't know what that says about anything. Go over to the NFC East. I don't know if Dallas is going to be able to do anything against Philly on this one.
This is 5 out of 5. Fly, Eagles, fly. I wish I could say more. The Cowboys won't get a chance to play Danny or Tommy DeVito every week at home. That's just not how the schedule lays out. And kudos for that kid for putting up 17 points with a G-Man. It was a very valiant effort. That's not going to continue for the Cowboys. Tough schedule. Philly has a reasonably tough schedule. They're the better team. 5 out of 5 Burns.
I agree. I don't, especially after that first loss that Dallas put up a little stinker against Philly. 2.5 game lead. I don't think that they can overcome that, especially with them both having pretty difficult schedules. Philly, like Bijan said, they're the better team. I love them. 5 out of 5. And it's looking pretty darn close that there could be a rematch of last year.
Dallas also has a pretty decent schedule ahead. They still play each other one more time, Dallas, Philly. So Dallas is 2 games behind Philly in the loss column right now. So they're not totally out of it. And they get Philly at home when they do play. So there's a chance.
They do play well at home. Very well at home. It's a different team altogether.
Then they also play Miami, Detroit, and Buffalo. Dallas.
They're not beating them. The Kitties, the Cowboys will be a good game.
I don't know what's going to happen there. I would say 3.5 out of 5 confidence level for Philly for me.
Ooh, 3.5.
I do think that they're probably going to win. They only have 1 loss in the entire season. I don't know if Philly's that good.
They're going to at least lose 3 games. It's 17 games. Yeah. Season is brutal.
So we'll have to see what happens there. They do have a good chance to win that division. NFC South. Bijan would have thought that I'm going to start with Bijan on this one. Bijan would have thought that I would have been saying Atlanta or the field. It's not Atlanta. Okay.
Atlanta is 3-2 in the division. I will have you best division record in that division.
Okay. So New Orleans is winning the division right now at 5-5. Okay, so we'll start there.
They're at 500. Congratulations, NFC. Oh, someone's reached the media, the equator.
So, are you taking the field, or Bijan? Are you taking the field, or are you
Field.
taking New Orleans?
100% field. What's up, Jameis Winston? Maybe in. Can I take a team from another division to win this division? This is god awful. I'm definitely going to take the field here. The 4 out of 5 Burns. Nothing against the Saints. It could be the Bucs. I still think with some time off that Atlanta's on a bye week. It has not been pretty. They are 3-2 in the division, and they're in every game. They lost in Arizona at the last 5 minutes with a Kyler Murray return. So it's not pretty. Do I enjoy watching it? I don't. Are they effective in the division? They have been. So I'm going to take the field here.
This is a trash division. This is bad. Like, chances are the winner of this division is going to be 7-10. It's almost a lot. I do 5 out of 5.
I don't think you're wrong here.
No, 5 out of 5 Burns that it'll be a losing record that wins this division.
That's not option.
I know. So I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go ahead and say 1 out of 5 Bernies. I'm going to take the Saints.
Tiny Bernie.
The fact that I've already talked a minute on this upsets me.
A minute too long. Next.
This one's actually really easy to pick the field because it's so wide open.
The other teams are so bad.
Obviously, Carolina's not going to win the division. It's between Atlanta, Tampa, and New Orleans. And obviously, I'm still stung from 2 weeks ago where Tampa Bay should have won that game against Houston. We should be winning the division at 5-4 right now, but neither here nor there. So I'm going to take the field, and I'm actually really interested to see how this plays out in the next couple weeks here. If my Bucs can somehow hold on. My Bucs play the Niners this week. There's that. The last division, last not least, I'll say San Francisco, even though they're tied with Seattle. Burn, are you taking the Niners or the field?
I'm taking the field. Seattle's playing. San Fran has showed that they can be beat, going on that 3-game losing streak. When they're on, they're on. You saw what they did they dismantled the Jags. It was embarrassing to watch, especially as a Jags fan. I'm going to take the field. I still think Seattle's got a chance to take them. They do play twice in the next 4 games. So that
they do.
We'll know a lot more here in a month. Today, I'm going to go ahead and 3 out of 5 Bernies. We'll take the field.
I'm going to go the other way, and it's not a high confidence level. 2 out of 5 Burns, because I love what Pete Carroll continues to do in Seattle. Young defense coming together. Old man at the helm, Geno Smith, getting it done with those 2 young running backs. They've got 3 great receivers, and they do play, to Bernie's point, San Francisco 2 out of the next 4. If they split there, they'll still be tied. I like Seattle to maybe get this done. I don't think the Rams can make any noise because of Seattle's presence. I'm going to go 2 out of 5, though. Not very confident. I can't count Pete Carroll out. Give me the field.
You don't trust anybody in that division outside of San Francisco. I'm 5 out of 5 Bernies. The Niners are going to win that division.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
You guys we'll check back at this.
Yeah.
We'll mark the tape, and then we'll check back at season's end, and you'll see San Francisco will easily win this division. You can actually bet on it on Hard Rock Live or whatever it is that's out there.
Do it. Get your bets in.
Do you guys like Snickers?
Oh, great. Classic.
You have to like Snickers.
Why go hungry? Why is it not our sponsor this week? Are they?
Yeah.
It's a promo?
I'll put it in
Dickie paid more. I think you threw a little extra cash.
So if you had to decide, you walk into a gas station and you had to decide between a normal Snickers bar or a Snickers ice cream bar, is that a tough decision for you? Or do you think that it's a no-brainer? Or give me your thought process on that. Burn.
Mm-hmm.
It's dependent on the season. Is it hot out? Because, man, I'm telling you, that ice cream bar is phenomenal. Nothing beats it.
That's
but
right.
If it's a cold day and I need something quick and I don't have to worry about my teeth getting, I don't want to get ice. And if I brush some Sensodyne prior, maybe I can freebase that ice cream bar. Sometimes I enjoy the normal original Snickers. It is dependent. I love them both. I wish we were sponsored and
I would say the same thing. It's similar to me with the fries, tots conversation. It's very, instead of regional, it's seasonal for me too with Burns. So I'm not eating one of those in January or February. 10 months a year, I'm going with the original Snickers, or actually 10 months a year, I'm going with the ice cream. 10 months, I want to say 10 months a year, I'm going with the ice cream. 2 months a year, I got to go. They're both great
damn
options.
Oregon State, Washington.
Yeah, I got it. Beavers and Cougars and ice cream and nougat.
Oh my.
Do you guys like, but for the record, I would take the ice cream bar every single time if I could. I would eat a 6-pack of the ice cream bar in a night, like easily.
What about the drumstick? Do you think the drumstick is a close second, or is it Snickers standalone?
No, I don't think so. The drumstick's okay. The Snickers ice cream bar is very underrated. People don't talk about it enough. It should be at birthday parties. I guess you can't anymore because there's people that are allergic to nuts.
The nuts.
There goes that.
You can do Milky Way.
It's like Reese's ends up at parties.
No, when you get to that point of processed, I'm not sure how much real peanut butter is in that.
I don't know. Why is that a big deal? Like, why should I have to cater to somebody else's children's allergies?
Oh my!
You're the parent. You're the parent. You guys handle it. Look, there's a Snickers. Don't let your kid eat it.
Here's an EpiPen to go with it.
It depends on how little they are. So the MLB wrapped up a couple awards here. Obviously, there's going to be some that are announced post podcast release. So we're not going to be able to speak on everything. Gunnar Henderson, Carroll, they get the Rookie of the Year. Acuna over 2 Dodgers wins the NL MVP. Ohtani over 2 Rangers wins the AL MVP. Cy Young, Garrett Cole. Who ended up winning the NL?
Blake Snell.
Factor. Okay.
Tremendous stats. Yeah.
Do you think he should have won that over Gallen?
It's hard for me. I really struggle with that one. I like Gallen had a few more wins, 17 wins, I believe, for Gallen. Snell had 12 or 15. 14 wins. Snell is so dominant, though. 2.25 ERA. Gallen was almost a full run above that. 181 average for Blake Snell. That is well below the Mendoza line. I wouldn't be close to 181. That's pretty bad. So dominant performance from Snell. I hate to see it. The Padres did nothing. The Diamondbacks did do something that should have some merit and meaningful games. The stats here, you got to go Snell. It's hard for me not to want to go with Gallen.
What are your thoughts on the MVP races there, Bern, with Acuna and Ohtani winning? Do you think that well-deserving?
Oh, those are the two most obvious. What they do, Ohtani, that speaks for himself, like two-way player, what he can do as a pitcher, what he can do as a hitter. It's crazy what he's capable of doing. And I'm really excited to see what he earns for what he does, because that's going to be a big, really, if you think about it, with 70 stolen bases, 40-plus home runs. It's never been done. Those are crazy stats. And
it may never be done again. Never.
Exactly. And over 100 runs. No, they're both very easy decisions and probably didn't take long. So that's very deserved.
Bijan, what did you think about the Rookie of the Years?
Oh, clear cut. We had a lot of clear cut races here. Corbin Carroll, defensive, both sides of the ball, right? So does it in the field, does it at the plate, seems to have some leadership capabilities even early on in his career. That was a clear cut choice. Gunnar, the way that he finished and consistency was there. He's got a great name. How do you not vote for Gunnar Henderson? I'd vote for him for the local Senate seat because his name is Gunnar Henderson. Adley Rutschman started off on fire. Gunnar Henderson was a clear cut choice there. And to say that Adley Rutschman was in the conversation with that tells you how much young talent that Baltimore Orioles team has.
It's unfortunate that a lot of these players that won a lot of these awards didn't have any kind of real effect on the postseason. Like that, obviously Ohtani didn't even make it. Same thing with Garrett Cole and Blake Snell. Acuna was the only one. Henderson and Carroll, they were in there, so you had that. So the manager of the year, I was surprised by Bruce Bochy not winning it after winning the entire thing. Brendan High got it for the Orioles, and then Skip Schumacher gets it for the Marlins, leading the Marlins to the playoffs, which nobody had the Marlins making the playoffs at the beginning of the season. So I get that. But kudos to doing that. So that was pretty interesting. Ron Washington also is hired now He's 71 years old. Is that too old, Bern? So what? Is there not anybody else that they can get?
He is a great coach, and Braves are losing. That's gonna be tough to replace.
Big loss.
But, man, 71 years old to go back into a managerial position. It's too old. They need somebody that's a little. How many more years does he have? I don't know. What is the oldest coach?
Really.
Does anybody know?
You can run the country at 80. You can be an MLB coach at 71.
Yeah. And look how that's going. So
we're not ageist over here on Sports Caviar.
But no, I'd say look at Bruce Bochy, look at Brian Snitker from the Braves. Both of those guys are 68 years old. And they both, everyone would say in the top probably 7 to 8 coaches in the league right now. Look at the results that they get from their team. Ron Washington, to Bernie's point, the players love him. He understands the game. He's managed before in Texas. Pretty good success, not tremendous. I like this move. This is what that organization needs, is someone that can relate to players of all ages. He knows the game. He's a great developer of talent, and players gravitate toward him. This is one thing that the Angels finally got right.
They're not going to really have, who knows if they're going to have Mike Trout. Are they going to trade him or what?
I would move him. I would move Ohtani and start over.
And have Ron Washington hit? Is he going to slide in the 4 spot?
Oh, 80s player coaches get it. Oh, that would be tremendous. I bet he's a good drag bunter. I bet he could really lay one down. I bet he's fast. He looks fast.
He looks old. Is what he looks.
He can get down the line.
This is one thing that I really liked about the Detroit game when I was watching. They decided, and I don't know if you guys are going to say that you agree with it now because of the outcome. Detroit, they had the ball. It was 4th and 2. They were in field goal range, and they decided to go for it to keep the ball out of the hands of Abraham. And obviously, I had picked the Chargers, and I was looking forward to Herbert getting the ball and taking it down the field. And so, did you guys agree with that decision?
I'll take this. Yes. Look, without even knowing the outcome,
gotten the 4th down, you would have been like,
no, I'd be upset. It's that I would have blamed it on bad execution, not for actually going for it. First 4 possessions for the Chargers: punt, field goal, interception, punt. Next 5, touchdown. We couldn't stop them. Our defense could not stop them. We couldn't find a way.
On the ropes, we were gassed.
We kick a field goal there. There's a minute 42. They could score another touchdown very easily.
I thought you guys trusted your defense.
We do, but
we didn't. We weren't on it. We weren't on it that game. What
you weren't on that? You weren't on it against Baltimore either.
We're 7-2, so I don't know what your Bucks are doing right now. And
here's my take on this. Yeah. So the NFL is a matchup league. Chargers are 28th in the league against tight ends. They struggle against tight end. This is the difference in this year's Lions team and our previous ones, is we are playing to win the game, not to lose the game. We were ready to win that football game, had to keep, to Burns' point, our defense off the field, especially with Herbert at home and the way it was humming for them. That's a very good offense. Their defense is not great. So Sam Laporta, that's why you let a guy like Hawkinson go and bring in Laporta, a tremendous draft class from Detroit. And you throw him, he makes his 4th catch of the game. He had 4 catches for 40 yards.
Beautiful play
call. Catch for beautiful play call. It's the difference between trying to win a game and trying not to lose a game. And that's what we did on Sunday. You get our kicker out there. He drains it. Crank the bus. No one drives the bus across the country. Get in the plane and let's head back.
I actually think that the reason why I wanted to ask you guys this is because it's not necessarily for your thoughts per se on the Detroit game. I'm wondering if this is going to be something that NFL teams do in general. Instead of, because you see a lot of times they get in field goal range, that puts them up. You saw it in the Bills game. They took the quick touchdown, right? They left a minute and a half for Denver. And that Denver took it all the way down the field and they won the game. So
you can't blitz twice in a row with the same blitz. You can't show the same look to a veteran quarterback on back-to-back plays and let him throw up a lob pass for a cop-out PI.
Yeah. I get it. At the same time, if Buffalo would have taken Detroit's strategy and say, okay, we're down by 6, once we get into the red zone, let's run the ball a couple times. Let's get the clock moving and give Denver 30 seconds to operate with.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Use the
That's
clock
a good
little
point.
more. Burn. Florida State, huge rivalry game, Miami. The game was tied at half. I was a little bit nervous, obviously. We're a second half team, so I felt pretty good about that. There was Miami left some points on the board there. They missed the field goal. There was that safety, non-safety. That was the first half or the second half, the safety?
The second half, wasn't it?
So that was second, right?
Second half. So were you concerned at all with the fact that, okay, Florida State wins the game? Were you concerned by the way that we won, or tell me your thoughts?
So I would say I'm mildly concerned because Miami won the game in the trenches. They beat us. And that shouldn't be the case. Again, our offensive line couldn't create the holes for the running game. We had under 100 yards total. Like that, it's probably a little skewed because of Jordan Travis has some, negative yards. At the end of the day, that's not what we're supposed to get the running game going. That helps out the pass and what Jordan can do with Keon and Johnny. So if you really think about it, that one play, that 85-yard, that Jacoby George dude, good Lord. I mean, he had 150 plus yards out of the 200 totals, and one of them was an 85-yard. But that's defensive coaching. The angle that Kevin Knowles took was horrendous. He took out Cypress. It was an easy walk-in. I really think
it's one of those plays.
It really was. Like if you take that play out, we win that game, and there's no stressing at the end. I will say Emory Williams. Hopefully, that was a vicious injury.
Vicious.
I was like, ooh.
Talk about leaving it on the line, though. Wow.
Oh,
what an effort.
He was short, though. He was short. I will say that he was short. The defense held him in check, if you think about it. 8 of 20-something.
Yeah.
Miami only completed 10 passes all game. 10 balls, 10 forward passes completed. It was like the 1940s.
Well, we haven't had a complete game, though, Hav. We haven't had a complete game, and we are going to need that. We're going to need it.
I don't know if you consider LSU a complete game because we played pretty good that game overall, I would say.
Overall.
And in this game, it was the thing that concerned me. It really wasn't overall defensively. I was fine with it, and we played pretty good. Where I was a little bit concerned is how much pressure they were able to get on Travis. So when we're going up against, let's say, Georgia, and they got all these 5-star defensive linemen coming at us, I don't know what's going to happen right there. We're going to have to come up with a different game plan. Who knows? You could chalk it up to it being a rivalry game. Maybe Miami was hyped up. They were ready to get in there and bust some chops.
Yeah, they had nothing to lose.
Classic rivalry game. It was all effort. A couple big plays, to your point. You guys got the win, though. You're 10-0. So was it pretty? No, you survived what was Miami's Super Bowl or their bowl game, really. They're going to get in a bowl. This is really more importantly to them. Give yourselves credit. But the worst thing is what you said, Hav, what you really got to worry about is Georgia's number 1 now and you're number 4. You want to avoid that Bulldogs team at all costs, the way that they're starting to heat up right now. So you want something to happen at the top where you don't have to play them first round.
And I'm going to get into that in a little bit here. I wanted to talk about Florida because you guys had a rivalry game and nobody was.
Jade Daniels just scored again. Oh, man. That's a hawk. Flashbacks.
So you lost a couple 4-star recruits in the last week, and it seems, I don't know. I'm wondering what's going to happen if you lose to Missouri and then you lose to Florida State and you don't make a bowl. Are you worried at all now at this point now, the way things are starting to go?
LSU's offense is really fun to watch. And give our score, we scored 35 points. Pretty happy about that. Our defense was horrendous. We could not stop Jaden, which incredible, legendary performance with 600 total yards. It was fun. As miserable as it was for me, I'd say I got to appreciate it. My 11-year-old did not. He stormed to bed. He's a lot more pet. So that was a tough one for him. I will tell you, who wants to be in Gainesville with DJ Lagaway and what we're putting together next year is going to be here. And who doesn't want to be here, then, go back to Georgia. I can't blame you. You're a defensive lineman and you want to flip to Georgia. Can I be mad at you for that? No. It's not like he's going to East Tennessee State. Like, he's going to Georgia. It's a good football team. We're not losing talent to lesser programs. we're going to also gain some other people too. Did those hurt? Yes, of course, I'm not happy to see it. Are there some bright spots? Yes, there are. And is that the game we wanted? Is that the result we wanted? No. We scored 35 points. What are we going to do? We're going to, like I said, we got in Missouri this week. It's going to be another difficult game. I do think we have a better chance to cover that because of the matchups. Now, do I outright win it? It's at 14. Is it 12, 12 and a half or 14? After that performance, after our defense gave up 600, you can't be surprised at that. And then we end with you guys, which is going to be super fun.
So Florida State, Florida was announced for 7:00. Do you think that matters at all?
It's better than noon for everybody. Yeah. No one wants that game to be at noon. It's sad when that game's at noon. Give us 3:30 at the earliest. 7:00 is perfect. The country deserves 7:00. This rivalry. Last year's game was great. Night shootout. It was phenomenal to watch. Let's have we could very well have a replay of that because we can score. We've got some weapons. Good luck on us stopping anybody right now.
It plays better for them at 7, man. That's like at home, prime time, night game.
Lathered up. Lathered.
I would prefer to do. It really matters if you're talking about two teams that, let's say Florida, Georgia, right? It's obvious that Georgia has more talent than Florida at this point in time, right?
Correct.
You think game time matters? Florida State clearly has a better team. So, okay, the crowd will be more into it at 7:00. Does that really matter in all actuality?
Maybe a little bit. 5%. Not a huge.
For the first quarter.
Yeah. Which could be, maybe we get up 10-0 and then maybe that helps. Who knows? It does help a little bit. I don't think it's a big factor.
So Michigan takes down Penn State, as we all predicted. Whenever the Sports Caviar crew are in unison, and you have to go to the bank and put it in already.
Load it up.
It wasn't without any kind of controversy beforehand with Harbaugh getting suspended and then Michigan not passing in the second half at all. Not even one pass attempt in the second half to beat a top 10 team. I can't even understand how that is even possible. Okay. That goes to show you how trash Penn State is. We don't even got to pass against you guys to beat. That is so bad. I want Byrne to talk about what's happening with Harbaugh. Is he coming back? Is the fact that you didn't throw in the second half, did that affect JJ McCarthy's Heisman race? What's happening in Ann Arbor right now? What is happening with your emotions right now?
It's Michigan versus everybody. And I absolutely loved the Penn State game. I love the fact that we showed we are going to put our strength against your strength. They were number two against the run. And we said, cool, you call us cheaters. We don't need signs. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball 32, 34 straight times, and we are going to beat your ass. And that's exactly what they did. Yes, it hurts JJ McCarthy's Heisman. 7 of 8 for 60 yards. His percentage is over 75% still for the season. Yes, it probably eliminates him from even an invite. They don't care. What they're looking for is that hardware for the national championship, and that's what we're fighting for. They played for Harbaugh. It's absolute BS on how the Big Ten decided that they felt pressured from all the other coaches. They had to do something, and they suspended a coach that was currently under investigation with allegations. And look, at the end of the day, I'm sure there's some hand slapping that needs to be done. Something happened. There was obviously a former employee, but the NCAA is still handling the investigation, still going through that. So they suspended a coach the day before, like almost 14 hours prior to game time.
I know.
For 3 games for something that's not even finalized yet. They didn't give him weird. They gave him zero information other than saying, we're waiting to hear back from the NCAA. And the Big Ten better watch out because the repercussions, because Michigan's not going to go down without a fight. I expect Harbaugh to be coaching, especially they're coming up on their 1,000th win as a university. And that's this weekend. And that'd be a travesty if he's not on the field for that. At the end of the day, Michigan did what they were supposed to do. They dominated on a whiteout primetime game. That's a big game at Penn State. You can say that they're trash. They're still, Ohio State beat them. and we gave them the number 1 playoff position. So to me, big win. We showed that we are as good as advertised. Our defense was stellar, held the quarterback under 100 yards. It was under
I think
right at
Florida
200 yards.
could hold him to under 100 yards. Allard.
Oh, now okay. Good. I like her.
Like
Allard.
What is his
Allard.
I don't give a damn. Michigan is what they are, and they will. And I love it that they're playing. Everybody is out calling them the villain. I love it. That's only going to help. They're going to absolutely finish strong. And did anybody see that post game speech by?
I'll tell you what,
Lord,
talk about further galvanize that. If Bud Light needs to make a comeback, that could be "I Love You Man," the new "I Love You Man" commercial. He was really.
I love
Sharon Moore, all emotion. You could tell what he had to go through and what that meant to him. Phenomenal to see that. If Bud Light needs to do a campaign, they need to get Sharon Moore to do it.
I love it
for them.
Praising Jesus and then dropping 4 F-bombs. It's just it was.
You know what? We live in grace. We live in grace, Bernard.
We do. Gutsy game by the Wolverines. They, without a head coach, finding it out the day before. They again did what they had to do, and I feel really good about it. I'm very disappointed on
32 runs in a row. It's phenomenal. I felt like I was watching the old 2008 George Clooney movie, Leatherheads. They ran it. They knew what they were going to do. Didn't matter. When you're averaging 5 a carry, that includes 2 quarterback kneel downs at the end. Why do anything else when they don't have an answer for it? Continue to pound it. Is it exciting? No. Is it effective? It is. And that's what they needed, was an effective win on the road. And I love that emotion at the end. Fully galvanized, as we talked about last week.
It's obviously Michigan had to win the game. They did what they had to do, as you said. Doesn't seem to me to be overly impressive. Obviously, on the defensive side of the ball, it is. Ohio State did the same thing to them, didn't they?
They had a pick 6 to help.
That really sealed it. Far more impressive this win. Michigan's win was complete dominance, with the exception of one drive Penn State had. They pulled out all the stops. Michigan controlled that entire football game.
I would like. Has Penn State played Iowa yet? I don't know. I
don't want to watch that. Don't make me watch that. No, please.
So now we're worried about Penn State and who they've played.
No. I'm comparing how boring they are. Team. Like, nobody wants to watch Iowa play. Nobody wants to watch Penn State play.
Take care of that baby.
So I'm curious. We only have 2 weeks left, actually 3 weeks with the conference championships, and then we'll find out who's going to be playing in the college football playoff. And I was looking at some things. I'm like, okay, what scenarios could happen here? And there's not like a ton. Obviously, we know Ohio State, Michigan, whoever wins that game is going to get in. They're not going to lose the Big Ten championship.
Yep.
They'll be in. More than likely, as a 2 seed or a 3 seed, doesn't matter if you're 2 or 3, you're in that no man's land. It's like you have to be 1 or nothing. If Georgia has to lose in order for Florida State to have any kind of chance to move to the number 1 seed. Georgia could lose to Alabama. What happens if they lose to Alabama? If Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC title game, do both of the teams get in?
Depends on what the loss looks like and what the other teams do. There is a scenario where maybe Alabama slides into 4. Could happen.
Georgia stays in?
Maybe they don't stay in. I don't know. Alabama has 1 loss, correct?
Yeah.
So it depends on what the loss looks like. If they go blow the doors off of Georgia.
Let's say it's within a touchdown. Whoever wins the SEC championship gets in, whether it's Bama or Georgia.
Oh, it's guaranteed. We know that.
Both teams get in.
It depends. I would put, if Washington wins out and beats Oregon again, they're undefeated. You've got to put them in because they haven't lost. Okay. If we know that one of the Big Ten teams is going to go, that's going to happen. And that leaves us with
FSU wins out.
FSU wins out. You got to put them in if they're undefeated.
Now
they both can't get in.
What if Washington loses to Oregon in the Pac-12?
That's what I was going to say.
Now it gets really interesting. Now you could have potentially some SEC bias coming in, or Oregon goes. That gets very interesting. All kinds of chaos there. So the Ducks could do it too. Ducks, nice work on Saturday night.
If I was predicting Washington loses to Oregon in the Pac-12,
so do I.
Ohio State loses to Michigan. So you got Michigan.
Shocker.
Let's just say Alabama beats Georgia, then Alabama and Georgia both get in.
It would not surprise me.
If Washington loses to Oregon in the Pac-12, and both them and Oregon have one loss,
Oregon doesn't get in?
Alabama by far.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
The question
Georgia
wouldn't be
State's-
whether or not.
No. Georgia goes from 1, drops to 4.
It's 4.
Alabama moves
goes to
probably
3.
2.
Michigan goes to 1.
2.
Michigan probably goes to 1, and Florida State stays 3. It would be
No,
I think that
Michigan
makes
goes
sense.
Alabama,
so
Florida
State goes to 2. They'd be undefeated. They would be the second undefeated team. They would have to go to number 2. Not that it matters.
Not that it matters. They would play Alabama, and then it'd be Michigan.
Georgia at 4. So
And that's
Oregon would be. Oregon would be out.
Horse thing. So Alabama goes in, and Georgia stays in.
Texas is out.
Texas out either way.
Texas has no
hang in there,
chance to get in.
Texas.
I don't think so.
No. I wouldn't say no chance,
that
but
have to happen.
Now remember, they beat Alabama.
Correct. I know.
They win their conference championship, and they have the same record as Alabama, and they beat Alabama. And you're going to tell Texas that Alabama gets in.
Oh, I'm not. The committee is.
if they beat Georgia,
Yeah.
you are going to tell Texas that because early in the season, still getting their team together. Sorry, Texas.
Yep.
Sorry. Instead of sorry,
Alabama
Tennessee,
just
those
beat the
old
number one
infomercials.
team.
Sorry, Texas.
Number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
Oregon knocking off undefeated number 5 Washington. They don't get in. And that's
Already lost to Washington, though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You got back to even, really.
So you guys are saying that if Georgia loses, they stay in.
Very
'Cause they're
highly
gonna be-
probable.
They are going to be number 1 up to that game.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
So losing to Alabama, who is the number 6 right now, is that right? 6, 7. So as long as it's a close game, I don't see the committee leaving Georgia out.
It would be Florida State, Michigan, undefeated. Let's say Washington stays undefeated. Oh, okay. So if Washington stays undefeated, Georgia's out.
By our saying, if Washington wins the Pac-12, then it's going to be Washington, Florida State, SEC
Michigan.
champion, and Michigan. Ohio State.
12. Yep.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be a
Wow.
fall from grace?
And
lot
then
could
Georgia
happen.
gets out of the playoff. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that would be insane. May
It
have.
would be crazy. It'd be crazy if they push Washington out and keep Georgia and Alabama in. That would be
They,
disastrous.
they couldn't do that, right?
They
can't
couldn't.
do
They
They
that.
can't
can't.
do that. No.
You beat Oregon twice. They've had big wins.
You beat Utah.
Oregon
you beat-
State.
Gonna have Oregon State this Saturday. Don't sleep in Corvallis.
Yes.
That's gonna be a
Yeah.
tough game Saturday night.
That could be enough for Washington already as it is. We'll move over to our Orlando. The Magic are 5-5 right now. Bijan, walk us through a little bit of what they did last week. What happened with the Magic?
They go the Magi. They lose a heartbreaker to Atlanta in Mexico City, short there in altitude. They come back against a dameless Bucks team. Really nice win at home. Played a Nets team last night that I talked about last week as I really liking them in the East. It's a complete ball club. They were within 2 at the end of the third quarter and then managed, as Bernie talked about last week, to not have an offensive answer and get outscored 36-18 in the fourth and lose by 20 points. And Spencer Dinwiddie could do no wrong. Tonight, ahead in Chi-Town against Billy Donovan. Rust is probably the next on the hot seat. Bulls not looking good, although I love Vucevic. If you're a Magic fan, you're meh. You're not really upset. You're not excited. We're doing what you expect to do. The Bucks win was nice. They got to beat Chicago these next 2 games. That's important. Atlanta game, they did play really well. Couldn't finish down the stretch.
Bijan mentioned a little bit of it. The Magic they have to play Chicago twice back to back, both games in Chicago. Odd.
Who
One
makes
of them
that schedule?
is
They give up?
It's a weird.
Listen to this. The second one is an in-season tournament game, so the court will be different.
Yeah.
All right, so I want you to talk a little bit about that situation, and then we have the Pacers to finish out the week. Where do you think happens with the Magic this week?
3 3 you need to be. At least split the Chicago series. We're the better team compared to Chicago.
Yeah.
Pacers, Halliburton, that's a stud. They've got talent. The Magic are good. We're still trying to get some of our guys back on the court. We'll be it till the cows come home. We need a shooter, and that's going to be what we work on during the trade deadline. We need to hover above 500 until we get to that, and we'll turn the corner. Last year, we started off really bad. We had a really rough stretch. So
just tread water right now, to your point, Bern. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, that we're ahead of schedule, which is sad that we're 500. We're tread water, stay a little above 500. We'll be fine. We'll be a playoff team. We'll be top 10 in the East.
So Gary Harris is our best shooter right now. He's shooting 50% from 3-point line.
But he's out for, I don't know, a few more games at least.
He seems to get injured often.
Unfortunately.
I can't really keep up with a lot of our players when it comes to stuff like that. So the in-season tournament, are you guys up to date on what that is?
A lot going on. I mean, I like it. I like you got to try something new. You got to do something different. I like the format. It's confusing when it all irons out. I'm fine with it. I like the different courts. I like the fact that there is an extra game in Vegas. It adds some intrigue early on to the season. Now, the schedule's wonky. Back-to-back games in Chicago, that's weird. I like the idea. Let's try something different.
I like the idea. What's the benefit? What do you get for winning?
You get a trophy and some cash. Same thing you get for the smaller, like a little mini circuit.
A little participation trophy. Thank you for...
Yeah.
They give out an MVP, too, for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually was thinking that this was really stupid and pointless. That really what it comes down to is it would be stupid and pointless for the Milwaukee Bucks or the Golden State Warriors, teams that have already done it. That if you're talking about a team like the Magic, let's say, and they won the in-season tournament and Banchero ended up getting MVP, that for a young team, it could matter. It's something. It proves that they're somewhat legitimate now, right? Like they obviously everybody knows it's not winning a real tournament. Although LeBron James Lakers won, it was basically an in-season tournament when they won.
Pretty much what they won when they won the title.
And everybody counts that as a championship ring for LBJ, right? That's what now that we're talking about, that's what this reminds me of. It reminds me of the COVID tournament.
Very much so. The Bubble Boy, the Moops.
Although the court is a little bit cooler, though. I do see in that. I will say that. Because of that, it's causing them to do these home and home games, which is odd. We were way off on UCF last week, fellas.
Couldn't be more off. Wow. Good for Malzahn. That complete dominance from the get-go. Cowboys, no answer. Bounce house was jumping. Way wrong. Congrats to
State.
Charge on. Bernie, hum that song again.
We're
never again.
And then
I can't explain it. Oklahoma State looks so good against Oklahoma, and then that's an embarrassment.
And UCF just looks bad, and that's the thing. That
I mean,
it was a fishy line in Vegas, and that was the thing that I
probably should have.
You snipped that one out, Hav. You did have a nose for that.
I could smell it. I want to take it. Like,
you didn't act on it.
I need to act on it next time. I've learned my lesson before on those fishy lines. I should trust the fishy line. Golden State has started out 6-6 with Chris Paul. They are aging, man. I don't know. We'll see what they do in the playoffs. The Clippers are 3-7 to start.
Not surprising. We talked about its chemistry is a big part of this game. We talked about Harden. It's not an add. It's a subtraction. This is not an impressive ball club.
And then you got the T-Pups and the 76ers are both in first place in their respective conferences. I don't think anybody would have guessed that, really. Philly's good. They lost Harden. I guess maybe that ended up, you were right, that ended up
addition
helping them.
through subtraction.
Yes.
Well, Minnesota.
New math. Minnesota's been coming on. Anthony Edwards is in full bloom, paired with Cat, and I love Mike Conley as a veteran for them. This is a well-constructed basketball team that's been increasing each year. Trust in the process. It's got a patient fan base that helps. I really like what Minnesota's doing. They're a delight to watch, and they're in every ball game. Play really hard.
Pat is tickling. He's tickling the spine for the big fella.
Silky. Oh, there it is, half.
Okay, so let's get to our favorite part of the show, guys. As it stands right now, Burn is still in the lead, although it did shrink a little bit after the week before.
It's fine.
Trying to close the gap. Trying to close the gap.
You had a good NFL day, right? Not a good college, or you had a good college.
College wasn't ideal.
Oh, which one was the good one? You had a good one and a bad one. I forgot what it was.
I consider them all good.
It's all good for Burn. Bernie is good. Saturday, Sunday. Weekends are for Bernie. Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie's.
Stick with me, guys. Stick with me.
Me and Bijan are right in there. Bijan's got me by a game. We're trying to tread some water here, make up some ground against Burn.
Got to do it
this week.
It's not over yet.
So we'll start out with a Thursday night game. This is a good.
Oh, what a treat. What a treat. Game. Finally. Thank you, Amazon Prime, for delivering.
Well, I agree. We know Bijan actually already teased out who he was going to pick. So we'll start with you. Since you
it was pretty obvious. I love the Ravens here. They're healthy. The Bengals are not. T. Higgins is out. Both defensive ends could be out. You have to pressure Lamar Jackson, Miles Garrett, and the Cleveland defense showed you the blueprint last week. I don't know that Cincinnati can do that with the injuries they have right now. Here's the key stat, though. Baltimore, best in the NFL in rushing the football. Bengals, 30th, almost last. And with those subtractions of the D-line, it's going to be even worse. Gus the Bus, Keaton Mitchell, Justice Hill, whoever they want to call back. Maybe Ray Rice suits up. Who knows? Whoever they want to put in the backfield for Baltimore, it doesn't matter. They're going to run the ball and control it. Cincinnati offense, here's another problem. Last stat I'll throw out here. They're 19th in sacks allowed, so you can get to Big Money Joe. Baltimore defense leads the NFL in sacks. Bad matchup, bad timing on a short week. Love the line at 2. It's moved to 3.5. I don't like it over 5. I like it anywhere around 4 and below. So I give me the Ravens at home. Quote the Raven Thursday night.
All right. I had it at 3.5. Is that?
It's 3.5. Get it before it goes to 4. I don't like 4. I love 3.5. Love 3 better.
No, I'm going to have to agree. I especially with the injuries on the Bengals defensive line. Lamar and company can run the ball. In its home game, I feel very confident that the Ravens lay the points and win that game pretty easily. Give me the Ravens. Fly with me. Or the Ravens, Eagles, Ravens. I don't care. I'm taking the Eagles too. I'm taking the Eagles too. So that'll
all birds.
A little teaser for
all
next
birds
month.
for Bernie. Avis lover.
I'm flying with them all.
No. Soaring with Bernie.
There's Joe Burrow. They're in full desperation mode after last week's loss. This is a division game. There's no way they're going to get blown out in this scenario. I agree. You mentioned the stats about the offensive line in Cincy being trashed. That was the case when they went to the Super Bowl. So it doesn't bother Burrow for some reason. You guys suck. All right, hike the ball to me and I'll get it down to Chase. Okay, like let's go.
You're not wrong.
As long as he has Jamar Chase, they have an offense. I'm going to take the plus 3.5 that these AFC North games, they get so
slugfest.
I don't know why they're always within a field goal. It's 10-7 in the third quarter. And I'm like, what is going on here? Can you guys score some points? So I'll take Cincy, and the game's going to be close. The game is definitely going to be close.
You're probably not wrong.
If it's going to be close, then I'll take the points in that situation. We'll go to the next game. Huge game. Philly, we're talked about how they only have one loss all season. Now they're playing a very good team in the Kansas City Chiefs. Taylor Swift will be in attendance, right? I don't know. Burn, you got Kansas City's -2.5. Who you got?
I maybe gave you an indication earlier.
What a ship that would be if you changed it within 2 minutes.
I obviously love the Birds. No, give me the points. Being an Eagles, give me the Eagles. They hold a grudge from losing that Super Bowl. This is the rematch time. They're going to come out strong and they're going to show that they're the best team in the league. And they win outright. I'd take the money line if I were to bet. If I was a betting man, I'd take the money line on this. The Eagles come out strong and the Eagles take care of business.
Vern, I love our alignment, especially early on in these picks consistently. Exactly what you said. Revenge game. Granted, both teams have this one circled on their calendar, more so for Philly. And no city loves to dish out revenge more than Philly. The fans are ready for this. Philly's ready for this. I know it's on the road. Monday night, so give the NFL schedulers credit. We got a great Thursday night game. We got a great Monday night game. Two great bookends to the week. Rushing offense for Philly, it's 8th. Kansas City doesn't stop the run, 17th. On the flip the coin, best rush defense in the league is the Philadelphia Eagles. Kansas City not going to be able to run the ball. They do it 19th. Pacheco won't be able to move. Mahomes will get some yards to Kelsey. The other Kelsey, though, is going to win this football game. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Kansas City is very hard to beat at home.
Unless you're the Lions.
And
yes.
That's the Lions. They did pretty good.
You guys caught them week 1, right?
What's that matter?
I don't even know if Mahomes
Florida
was even
State
warmed
caught
up yet.
LSU. Florida State caught LSU the first game of the season, and you seem to think that was a pretty big win.
We dominated them.
Saying.
The Kansas City is going to win this game, and I like the line at 2.5. That's the key there.
Important number there.
If this was minus 3.5, I would have been a little bit more ambivalent with the way that Philly likes to run the ball nonstop down your throat, open wide. This is Kansas City, baby. This is Patty Mahomes written all over it. He lives for games like this. And they don't get many over there in Kansas City in his division. I like Kansas City to make a statement win in this particular scenario. Under the lights, doing the chop. So we have, and you talked about this game earlier, Bijan. The Huskies at the Beavers. Now, Vegas agrees that this game is a toss-up because the line is basically a toss-up. So it's a pickup. So who do you think is going to win the game?
This Beavers, Cougars, whatever animal it is, I believe it's the Beavers in this case. They've been tough. DJ Ukulele has really been a great transfer to them. Their only really loss of the last 5 or 6 games is 24-27 against Arizona. That was in Tucson, and we know that Arizona is a good football team. Correct.
1 second. The line has shifted.
Oh, this end.
It is minus 2.5 Oregon State.
I love the Beavers at home. They're 4-1 against the spread at home. Washington's 2-2 against the spread away. Here's the last thing: this is finally going to be when the lack of Washington's defense catches up. Oregon State is so well balanced. 45th in passing. Washington's defense against the pass is 125th. Oregon's offense rushing 20th, so top 20 team rushing the football. Washington can't stop the run very well. It's 52nd. This is a close game. Give me the Beavers in Corvallis, somewhere maybe 38-35, maybe 35-31. I'm going Beavers.
So now it's Oregon State minus 2.5 is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That
Vegas thinks the Beavers are going to win.
Get the Beavers or the Cougars. Have them both. The Huskies.
No, I want to do this as a Florida State fan and being biased and saying that let's go ahead and eliminate Washington out of the playoff picture. Can't do it. Huskies on the road as an underdog being undefeated. I don't think that's going to sit well with them. They need this game to stay alive and have a fighting chance of getting into the playoffs. Give me 2.5 points. The Huskies will, if I'm looking for a fight, I'm taking the Huskies over Beavers all day, every day.
That Washington's going to be able to pull it off as well. I do think Washington makes it to the Pac-12 championship game, and that's where they're going to get their wart. The thing with Oregon State is that they have 2 losses. They lost Washington State. They also lost to Arizona. there's been several occasions where they've failed to score 30 points or more. And so against Washington, you better score over 30 because
You
you're
have
not
to.
going to win the game.
Mandatory.
So that they do have, what time is that game? Is it a night game?
I believe it is.
It has
7:30
to be,
Eastern.
right? Doesn't it always
It's
have-
4:30 on the East Coast though, so it is a bit of a weird time. It was 7:30 our time, 4:30 in Corvallis.
over there? Yeah.
Beautiful time of year out
Mhm.
there in Oregon.
I'm going to take Washington on this one. That Vegas got this one wrong. Okay.
Oh,
It should have been more towards the pick'em. I saw that. I do not think Oregon State is -2.5. Come on.
yeah.
What's
Yeah,
happening?
my thing is that's pretty much Vegas is saying that this is a pick'em game in a neutral site, and that's not accurate. So I'm with you.
Okay.
It opened at -0.5, so it was a pick'em, and
It's a
then
pick-
and then they ended up getting some juice. I don't know that there must have been some people going heavy on Oregon State right there. This is a game to be on the lookout for. There's not a lot
Yeah.
this weekend.
It's going to be a great way to wrap up
Yeah.
your Saturday night. If you haven't seen these two teams play, most people have seen Washington. Oregon State, very well coached. They're very well balanced. This is the game of the day for me. Going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Now, this next game does not have any implications whatsoever towards humanity. Okay. We have it on the list because it has ACC implications.
Oh,
So if Louisville loses, and for whatever reason, this line is not that large. So obviously they're thinking that Miami is going to be able to hang in there with Louisville. Burn, I have the line at, this is a pick'em. It is a straight up pick'em for Louisville, Miami. Who you got?
it's easy. It's an easy choice. We got Van Dyke back as a starting quarterback.
He is.
You can't trust him. And the fact that Louisville, for what they've done this season, and that Vegas has sat there and said it's pretty much a pick 'em against Van Dyke, who is captain interceptions. Like that makes no sense. So
It doesn't.
I don't know. This is probably going to bite me in the ass, like the UCF game. I'm taking Louisville. Like that, they should win and win pretty easily by 7-10 on this one.
They did look bad last week. I will say that.
They got away with it. That woke them up, right? You almost lose to UVA on a Thursday night up walk, which you still get the win though. You escape 31-24. That woke them up. They're insulted at this line. Did we miss it on UCF? I'm with Bernie 100%. You got to give me the better team. Give me a better coach team. I'm not going to pick Miami in any game after what we've seen this year. Are you kidding me? No, give me the home of Papa John's Pizza, Louisville Wood Slugger Bats. I love that. Give me Louisville. Give it to me.
The home of Lamar Jackson.
Lamar, special player.
That brings back nightmares for me.
It does. We got JT.
You're right about this line not making any sense, though, Bern. Like, all these variables into play here with Van Dyke having to start. Miami's been reeling. They suck. And how is it a pick 'em? What's
What are we
going on
missing?
here? Can I call over to Vegas and be like, tell me the truth?
What are we missing out on here?
We don't
Just
know
let me end a little bit.
Miami's not ranked. Louisville's number 10 in the new playoff rankings. It seems insane to me.
How
that
many
they're not-
touches can they get Jacoby George? Is he going to touch the ball 25 times? Maybe then they win. Other than that, I don't know. Van
They do
Dyke
have a good
has been
defensive line.
awful.
Miami
They do
has
have
a good
a great-
defensive line.
Very
Yeah.
good D line, which could frustrate Louisville's running game. Maybe that's where they're thinking. Van
Yeah.
Dyke. No thanks.
I can't allow myself to bet on Miami, so I'm going to take Louisville for the sweep here. The confidence
Okay.
level is not high. It is not
Huh?
high. Yeah.
God.
It goes back to last week with UCF. It's the same exact situation. And
Yeah.
I told myself that I was going to trust the fish next time, and then I'm not doing it. Like,
Yeah, it's
Like,
efficient. Smell it.
I'd trust
They're-
it in any game other than this one. Like,
Yeah,
They're
they're
dumping-
Seattle style. Pike's Market.
there's
That's
fish sauce they're dumping. It's like you make your bet and they're like, would you want a side of fish sauce with that? Like, it's written all over it. I already know that we're going to disagree with this one. And the line isn't out yet, okay? I'm thinking that we're going to not care about the lines and pick based on our loyalties. Because the next game, Florida State plays Florida basketball this week.
Oh.
I would have thought the line would have been out by now. Why is it not
Yeah.
out?
It's Friday night at 7, correct? It should be coming out soon.
Friday night.
We finished our only other game of the week last night. We trounced FAMU, your little brother. So I like our chances. It's obvious that I do. I was at the UF UVA game, so privileged and very blessed to be able to go to they were in Charlotte last Friday night. So great battle with Virginia. Great battle with Virginia. Heartbreaking loss by 3. We've got a really young team. Never ashamed to use UVA by 3. We had a chance to tie or take the lead with about 5 seconds to go. Couldn't get it done. Riley Kugel, Will Richard are the difference here. Tyrese Samuel, our transfer from Seton Hall, big man, finally have one that can do a lot of things. And we've got 2 Twin Towers freshmen, Alex Condon and Huff, 6'11" and 6'9". They're like Euro style. Not only can they post you up, they can hit the 3. So we spread the floor. We run. We're a different team than we are last year. We dumped it down to Castleton and stood around. We play very fluid. This is a problem for the Noles. Give me the Gators.
So as we're going to do pick'ems here, because I'm assuming, what do you project the line's going to be on this?
It's going to be
minus
both
3?
Teams. Minus 3 sounds right. 2.5. They love the hook.
I don't think Florida will be favored because they're at home.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be this insurmountable line here for Florida State. So
2.5, probably 3.5 at the most.
We'll say pick 'em.
Yeah.
We'll just say I don't need the points. I
figured
win.
You wouldn't. Yeah. Okay.
I'd like the points. I'll be honest. I'll take some points.
That's why Byrne goes 7-0. He takes the points.
We don't have the lines.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess if Byrne, I don't want the points. I'm taking Florida State. If you guys need to come to an agreement that the most you'll give him is what, 2 or 2.5?
The line's not. We're picking.
I want 8. I want 8 points. I see. That's the thing is you give me a pick 'em. I mean,
It's a pick 'em.
Look, I'm not sold on. We haven't seen Florida State play anybody yet. Florida hasn't really played anybody yet.
Virginia, that's a good. Virginia's a good basketball team. Yeah.
We played Kennesaw State. We did what we were supposed to do. Unfortunately, I'm pick 'em. I do. I'm gonna take the home team. So unfortunately, if it's a pick 'em,
pick 'em.
I'd rather have some points. I'd probably have to take the Gators at home.
I'd love to hear that.
Because I'm also very concerned with my overall record, and that's going to be indicative of
that
this.
trumps.
It's fair to say because Florida State struggled last year mightily to do anything. It's not like the Gators or you guys aren't ranked or anything, right?
Not yet.
So it's not like you guys are world beaters.
No, not at all.
So this is obviously a rivalry game. Hamilton he's trying to win back the fan base from the last 2 seasons, missing the tournament. Like we got to get ourselves back in the picture, Leonard.
Both teams on the same journey, Golden on the same journey with the Gators right now. So it's interesting, very parallel paths. You got to take the home team here. We don't know the line. The line would be interesting.
If the line is -8 or something, then you have to let me know.
If it's -8, I don't know. I'm not giving 8 points. I'd give up to 4. 8 is way too much for us.
I don't know I don't know. It's weird that the line's not out. I'll be watching that. What time is that?
7:00 Friday night.
Okay.
Speaking of old coaches, Leonard Hamilton's 75 years old.
He needs to go.
It's probably time. I'm surprised after last season that we didn't. That's for another conversation.
That's going to put a wrap on this week's pod. We're so sad to go. There's good news, guys. We'll be back next week.
Thanksgiving, big week.
Sports caviar.
Be thankful for that.
We'll see you guys next week.